Hello friends, all of you, welcome in my YouTube channel. So today I discuss the other part of the introduction of the Constitution of India. So let's start the discussion. Direction and control of the Governor General in all matters relating to the government of the province. There was no separation of function and all authority of the governance of India, civil and military, executive and legislative, and vested in the Governor General in Council, who was responsible to the Secretary of State. The control of the Secretary of the State of the Indian Constitution was absolute. The Act vested in him superintendency, direction, and control of all acts, operations, and concern which in any way related to the government of revenues of India, subject to his ultimate responsibility to the British Parliament. He wielded the Indian administration through the Governor General as his agent, and his was the last word, whether in matters of policy or of details. The entire machinery of administration was bureaucratic, totally unconcerned about the public opinion in India. The Indian Council Act of 1861 introduced again a popular element insofar as it provided the Governor General's Executive Council, which was no longer composed exclusively of officials, should include certain additional non-official members, while the transacting legislative business as a legislative council, but this legislative council was neither representative nor deliberative in any sense. The members were nominated and their functions were confined exclusively to a consideration of the legislative proposals placed before by the Governor General. It could not in any manner criticize the act of the administration or the conduct of authorities. Even in legislation, effective power were reserved to the Governor General, such as giving prior sanction to bills relating to certain matters, whether which they could not be introduced in Legislative Council. Number B, voting the bills after they were passed or reserving them for consideration of the Crown. Number C, legislating by ordinance, which were to have the same authority as act made by the Legislative Council. Similar provisions were made by the Act of 1861 for Legislative Council in the provinces, but even for initiating legislation in this provincial council with respect of many matters, prior sanction of the Governor General was necessary. Two improvements upon the preceding state of affairs as regarding the Indian and provincial legislative council were introduced by the Indian Council Act 1892. Indian Council Act 1892, namely that A. Though the majority official members were retained, the non-official members of the Indian Legislative Council were henceforth to be nominated by the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and the provincial legislative councils, while the non-official members of the provincial councils were to be nominated by certain local bodies such as universities, district boards, municipalities. Number B, the council were to have the power of discussing the annual statement of revenue and expenditure, either the budget, and addressing the question to the executive. This act is notable for its subject, which was explained by the Under Secretary of the State of India, thus to widen the basic and expand the function of the Governor of India and to give further opportunities to the non-officials and native elements in Indian society to take part in the work of the government. So in the next video I will discuss Morley and Minto reforms and the Indian Council Act 1909. Thank you.